My name is Maelia Salcines. I represent the Community of Paraguayans in the United States of America, and this is my interview with the Pageant Project.
Hello, everyone, and hello to everyone who's already jumped on. This is something I'm going to need to ask my guest about since last time we chatted. Maelia Salcines, who, as she said, represents the Community of Paraguayans in the USA. Maelia, welcome back. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. It's been a minute since our last interview.
I was looking back, and it's been almost 2 years. I think it would have been 2 years around about June. And we'll get to that in a second. But just in case the people watching don't know who you are, I find that hard to believe given how many people have jumped on already. But if you don't know, Maelia Salcines is an award-winning children's book author of You Can Do It Books, co-founder of mental health nonprofit Mental Monarchs, a part-time model, and a certified Team Flawless makeup artist at Maze Glam. She placed third runner-up at Miss Texas USA 2021, was awarded People's Choice at Miss Universe Paraguay, and will be representing the Community of Paraguayans in the USA at Miss Grand Paraguay 2023. And you can follow her, although I'm betting all of you already do, at Maelia Salcines, as you can see there. Well, why don't we start? Why don't you catch us up from since last time we chatted, which, as I said, was 2 years ago, and I think that was for Miss Texas USA,
Yeah.
to now where you have multiple, I say that on Instagram, you have multiple fan pages and teams, and you seem to have a whole community following you. So, what's happened? What have you done here?
I know. Since the last time we talked, I've been reflecting, over everything that's happened. And I feel like after I competed at Miss Texas USA, I got so excited and I was always proud and to be Paraguayan. I always, represented that even competing at Texas. But I think, some of the fan pages caught wind of that and they knew that I was interested in competing for Miss Universe Paraguay. So I think once I did it, actually, it kind of just blew up. But it's crazy how so many things can happen in just such a short amount of time. But it's been like such a beautiful experience, honestly. It was scary at first, not gonna lie, stepping out of your comfort zone and doing something that you've always wanted to do, but you were kind of scared to do. But I'm
Mm.
just so thankful that I did it.
I mean, you're already competing on a fairly big stage. Obviously, the state of Texas is huge in pageantry, and Miss USA is huge in itself. What were you worried about in terms of stepping out of your comfort zone? Was it just branching into something different?
Yeah, it was definitely different territory. And, Texas was kind of like my comfort zone. I was all the girls, we kind of became really close together and it was really cool.
Sorry,
Did
you
it
just
cut
dropped
off?
out.
I know. I was like, it kind of glitched a little.
It's okay. We've got you back.
Okay.
So, can you give us sort of, since we last spoke, did you have a break from pageantry at all, or did you dive straight back into it?
I feel like after the Miss Texas USA 2021, I was not going to come back. Actually, it was my last time. I
Yeah.
ended on such a good note, but a part of me was like, look, you still haven't aged out. Let's keep going. If this is really your dream, continue to pursue it. And I was just really excited because pageantry really did give me a sense of purpose. I found that being vulnerable and speaking about my story on my mental health journey has really helped a lot of people with their mental health journey and
Mhm.
feeling more comfortable to seek help and also being able to provide them with the resources through my nonprofit Mental Monarchs. So I feel like wanted to continue pageantry to kind of elevate that even more because especially in pageantry, I think a lot of us girls kind of can get into a mindset that may not be the best. but it comes with everything, putting yourself out there and stuff. But I think kind of goes hand in hand with everything.
Do you want to tell? We talked about this in our last interview, but when you said, obviously, you brought up the subject of mental health on stage quite unexpectedly, if I remember correctly. Do you want to tell people about that story? And then we'll just branch into the mental health aspect after that. But how did the mental health subject came up? Because as I remember, it was like an answer to an on-stage question.
Yes. So my first pageant ever was Miss Rio Grande Valley, USA, back in 2019. And before then, I had never really spoken about my mental health journey. But the onstage question was, what do you consider your greatest accomplishment? And honestly, you never know what they're going to ask, right, for onstage question, but I really didn't know what was going to come out of my mouth. I always speak from the heart. So I ended up saying that overcoming my anxiety and depression happens to be my greatest accomplishment because even though it was a long journey, it made me the woman that I am today. And after I spoke out, the feedback that I got from
Mm,
people watching, or even when I posted on Instagram and started being more vulnerable about my journey, it like the feedback was incredible. And I think it brought a lot of people together and also made them feel not alone,
yeah.
which at times where I was depressed, I felt completely alone. And, that just made me realize like how many people are kind of still struggling. And that is kind of
Mm,
how the Mental Monarchs and everything came to be about. My best friend, Brooke Williamson, she's LMFT, a family marriage therapist. So we kind of combined her knowledge in the field and my experience. And that's how the birth of our nonprofit came to be about.
beautiful. How has your mental health journey been since then? Because I mean, you discussed you brought up the subject on stage, which obviously is brave of you. But then you have your book, you have the nonprofit. But I think since we last spoke, I don't know when we last spoke. I don't know if we were in the middle of the pandemic, at the beginning of the pandemic, but somewhere in the middle of that, we had a potentially worldwide ending
Yeah.
pandemic, which was a struggle for a lot of people. And for the people watching, and I think we discussed this last time, I've also struggled with my own mental health. So, how have you been looking after yourself over the 2 years?
I feel like, mental health is always going to be a part of us, especially a part of me. Some days, I have hard days, not going to lie. It's just part of life. But thankfully, I have been able to manage my anxiety, or sometimes if I get really sad, I'm able to manage that because of things that I learned through therapy, or even
Mm,
some of the things that I advocate about and we share on Mental Monarchs on Instagram, just kind of tips and tricks and coping mechanisms to use. I feel like for me, the best thing that I've done for myself, especially considering that I'm still in pageants, was kind of set boundaries on social media
yeah,
usage. For
yeah.
me, I at one point felt like it was a little too much, and I just, took off notifications. I haven't had notifications on for about over a year now. And I
Wow.
feel like taking those little steps to help yourself and keep the peace in mind is the most important thing. So I'm always big on protecting my peace, and I'll do
Mm.
whatever it takes to do that.
Good for you. Good for you. As you know, I recently got kicked off my socials. I don't know if I'll get them back, but for about a week, at least a week, I was solidly had no social media whatsoever, no Facebook, no Instagram, and everyone was like really worried, like frustrated on my behalf. But I have to say that week without social media, you talk about peace. It actually was a blessing in disguise and made me realize how addicted I'd become to it. Like, even though I didn't have social, I'd find myself reaching for the phone just out of habit
Exactly.
to do the endless scroll. So when you say boundaries, I think this would be useful for a lot of young people watching, not just women, but what sort of boundaries did you set? So were you only on it at certain times? You already said you took off notifications, which is a huge thing for me because with the phone pinging up all the time, it's like your life depends on, oh, someone liked your photo, you have to look. Someone messaged you, you have to look. So how did you set those boundaries?
I feel so Instagram actually has made it really easy to kind of monitor that.
Mm,
You can turn off or pause notifications on Instagram, but I did it on my settings on my phone, so nothing will pop up.
yeah.
But I did it through there, and I also limited who could like mention me or who could, because sometimes people like to get you involved in
Yep.
drama, in pageant drama,
In
or
pageant drama. Pageant
in
has drama? No.
no, no, not at all. In pageant drama, or people will always have opinions about you, which I respect everyone's opinions. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, but sometimes people love to just tag you and share what they want to share just so you could see. But for me, like I said, I like to keep my peace in mind. So Instagram does have some options where you can kind of monitor that and only have certain people mention you, or even the hidden words where, let's
Yeah,
say, like you get like those spam DM me or like those things. Like I also
yeah,
took those off. So those are helpful little things that you can do. But also some of the phones even now have screen time that you can set
yeah.
for your apps, for your social media apps. And once you pass that limit, they're like, okay, no more. Kind of those little reminders that I think they're so important, because you go out to dinner and everyone's on their phone. You don't see anyone really communicating with each other. And I always try to soak in the moment and be present. And I try to do that even when I'm by myself. So I'm not so consumed with what's online or just on my phone. But it
Yeah.
is, I feel like social media can get very toxic, even in whatever industry you're in.
Mm.
Um, it's like it's worldwide. We get a lot of influence from there. So I feel like it will influence your mindset and the
Yeah.
kind of mentality that you're in.
Yeah, I'm not one to say I hate social media because I don't, and obviously it has certain benefits. Like I never would have linked up with you, for example, if it hadn't been for social media. On the other hand, I don't know that anyone has ever said, you know what, social media has been really good for my mental health. I don't think I've ever heard that phrase, and I think there was a study recently that showed just how impactful social media has been on mental health, and it's not been impactful in a good way. And I have to say, when I see two people out on a dinner date or a lunch date and they sit down and the first thing they do is bury their heads in their phone. See, I don't know. How do you feel about this? Because some of the younger generation it's so normal for them. They're like, yeah, what are you talking about? Don't be old school. People can be on their
No,
phones.
I
But I
mean,
just feel like if you're on a date, particularly with someone, put the phone down
yeah,
and engage with the person in front of you, maybe.
yes. No, I feel like so sometimes I will, like if I'm at a restaurant, I will be on the phone because remember the whole QR code thing?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
now you don't have menus. So it kind of also you're already on it. So it's kind of easier just to stay on it. But I do like to
Put
search,
it away.
like I like to see the pictures of the food I'm gonna order. So I do Google that. But aside from that, I put my phone away. And I know there's even some little games, like if you're in a group of people, you put your phone in the pile and whoever picks it up first has to pay for the bill.
Oh,
There's
that's a
certain things
that's
like
a terrible game.
it's a terrible game, but hey, you will not get on the phone if that's the case. But I
that
do feel like sometimes you lose that connection with that
yeah.
person because you're so focused on what's on the phone or who's texting me, and you're not really focused on that person. I feel like we've kind of lost that as a society.
100%.
But aside from that, I feel like I do see it a lot, but I do see the younger generation kind of slowly going away from that.
That's true. That's true. I think they're slowly realizing that maybe social media is not just, universally good for them. Now, I have to bring you up to date with the comments. There've been a ton of them. Now, a lot of them are not in English, so I hope.
Well, I can't
Let me
see them, so I would.
I'll run you through them real quick here, okay? So I hope they're all good. If not, let me know. Guys watching, if you have any questions, I'm sure Malia would be more than happy to answer them. I can't read anything that's not English, so I apologize. I'm not going to try to read them out. Uh, that's a longer one
Venezuela,
there.
hola Venezuela, hola Chile, hola España.
Oh, Venezuela. Ariel has said hi, Malia,
Hello.
and
My
Venezuela.
gracias. I love
Ariel,
it.
there's a lot of comments here. Oscar has said, "I'm counting on you, Malia." Uh,
I hope I can make you guys proud.
I'm not sure what this question means. When do you visit to represent the USA at MGI 2023?
Um, I'm gonna assume they're trying to say because I'm not gonna be like I'm competing for Paraguay, not
Yeah,
the USA, so I will not be competing for Miss Grand USA.
yeah,
But my title is um, for representing all the Paraguayans in the United States of America. Um, because I was born in Paraguay, but I was raised in Texas. So hopefully, I'm able to represent Paraguay and then a part of USA as well at Miss Grand International this year. So, God willing,
absolutely. Jessica has said, "We love you,
I love you
Queen May."
guys. Amo.
I need to ask you, obviously, so you're going to be representing, I call it Paraguay. I've heard you say it multiple times as Paraguay, so I'm going to try and pronounce it
No,
properly.
I mean, I hear it all. It's different, the English way, Spanish way.
Yes. Well, I'm sure with your name and the mispronunciations of your name, you're probably sick of mispronunciation. So I try not to do it at the best of times, but certainly not around you. But I need to ask. So obviously, you live in the United States, but you're representing an amazing country, and I assume you're very, very proud of it. Tell people, because not everyone watching this will be from Paraguay. So can you? And I don't know much about the country. So tell us more about the country you're representing, and basically sell it to us, because I'd love to learn more about it.
So, one of the most beautiful parts, in my opinion, are the people. The people are the kindest souls ever. When I went to compete for Miss Grand Paraguay or for Miss Universe Paraguay, they welcomed me with open arms, and that was because I was kind of hesitant because I was raised in the USA, and I always was really proud to be from Paraguay. I always knew that being adopted, my parents are actually Cuban Americans, but they always would share stories about me, about the culture and everything. And I think also one of the beautiful parts of our country is the nature. The nature is just stunning. It's actually a landlocked country, so we have a lot of surrounding other countries in there. But I
Yeah,
think the most beautiful part is the people. The people, I have the utmost love and respect for everybody. And I think for me, it means so much to be able to go back to my birth country and
mm,
compete there. And the fact that they welcomed me, knowing that, I did grow up in the United States and I'm able to bring that part of me there too, like honestly means the world. Because how sometimes like they're like, oh, well, she's like for living in a different area, but it doesn't
yeah,
matter where you go in the world, you will always carry your culture and your blood in you. And I think that's
mm,
the most beautiful part of this, that there's so many, and I see it everywhere in other countries,
yeah,
people from all over, they may have moved when they were kids or moved for work and they come back and compete for their country. But I think it's just such a beautiful
yeah.
thing to see because you never lose your roots and you're always proud of where you're from.
Well, you've obviously got a huge cohort of fans from Paraguay and from everywhere around the world. So, what is it that you think how did you connect with them, or what did you think they saw in you that has caused so many of them to, as I said, like there's Team Maelia on Instagram. You have a fan base that has Instagram accounts that just posts about you. You've become a celebrity. So, well, more of a celebrity. What is it that you think they saw in you that made them latch on to you with such fondness?
I honestly have no idea, but I think one of the things is that I always show up as myself. And I feel like when you show up as yourself and you're vulnerable and you're authentic, it really gets people to
Mm,
kind of get to know you better and kind of fall in love with who you really are. And I feel like I'm always trying to advocate for, things that are very stigmatized, especially in the Latino community. Mental health is something that is often not talked about. It's swept under the rug. And I feel like, being that vulnerable self in a world where we kind of strive for perfection and we kind of admire that more or want to seek that more than someone who is just real,
Yeah.
raw, authentic, and true. I feel like also when you show up as yourself, it kind of makes others want to show up as themselves too and kind of
Mm.
embrace that. So I think just being authentic, but also, responding, interacting with them. I think that's how we kind of just connected together. And then I just truly appreciate, I never thought that would have happened. That like threw me completely off. I never expected any of that, going into pageantry, especially the last time we talked. I had none of that really. So it's been like, it's been honestly the reason why I keep going, the reason why I wanted to continue to do it and
Yeah.
hopefully represent my country internationally, because the people gave me so much support, so much love, and they
Mm.
kept encouraging me to go after my dream and not give up. So it's because of them that I'm continuing everything, and also I'm doing it for me as well. But it's
Of
it's a
course.
it's a group effort for me. It really means the world, honestly.
Well, I think we should ask your fans, so we don't have to guess. So for you guys watching, why don't you tell Milia why you love her so much? And
Oh,
then I'll pass the comments on, and then she can read them, so she doesn't have to guess anymore. But obviously, we're holding this conversation in English, and I want to be respectful that not everyone may understand it. So
I know.
if you have a message for your fans listening, watching, who may not speak English or maybe English isn't their first language, I
Yes,
just want to give you a moment to
yes.
address your fans directly.
Hola a todos. Siempre estoy agradecida por todo el amor y el apoyo que me han dado. De verdad, me dan ánimo a continuar y hacer lo mejor que puedo hacer. Voy a dar todo de mí porque ustedes lo merecen y ojalá te pueda hacer muy orgullosa.
I
I know.
will guess as to what you said.
I know. I'm watching your face and you're like, okay.
I can hear. I studied, of all things, I studied Latin in
I
school.
do remember that. I do remember you saying.
So I hear certain words like love and things like that, and they're common through many languages. But I was taking from the hand gestures and the body language that you were thanking them, and very, very grateful. So
I
I
talk with
hope
my hands a lot, and I don't
a
know.
hand talker, nothing wrong with that. Let me ask you a point blank question. I know you're a very authentic and honest person. Has that ever been a struggle for you in pageantry? Because sometimes pageantry doesn't really reward that sort of direct talk and we say be yourself, but very often it's like, well, be yourself, but the
But
version of yourself that we want you to be, which is not being yourself.
no.
So how has that been for you? Has that been a struggle at all?
In the beginning, I would, and I was just talking to my friend about this yesterday. And I wouldn't say oversharing, but, I was very vulnerable about my struggle
Mm.
with depression. And depression is not pretty. It's not pretty.
No.
It has really ugly sides. I remember one post I shared about my self harm when I would self harm back in the day in high school. And I remember getting a comment like, why would you say this? Why would you overshare? Why would you
Mm.
bring that to light? And I'm like, because it's the truth. But it kind of made me realize that not a lot of people are going to take that, and
Yeah.
run with it. And maybe I may have overshared at that point, but at the end of the day, I'm sharing for the people who need to feel like they're not alone
Yeah.
and to know that you will be okay and you can overcome it. It's not that like there's a lot of things that we have to do the inner work for ourselves, but it's not impossible. But I overshared that so other people can feel like there's someone in their corner. Because I
Mm.
wish I would have had that when that was happening. But, certain things like that I did notice. But at the end of the day, I'm reaching the people that I want to reach. And don't comments don't bother me like that anymore because I know I come with good intentions and just
Yeah.
only to help others. So I think, it is true though in pageantry sometimes, like especially when they're like on stage question, they're like, well, answer in the middle. But I'm like, no, like answer what you feel like. Be really truly yourself. Because
Yeah.
everyone's gonna have opinions, whether they like it or not. So might as well be yourself and speak your truth.
Yeah. I feel when you're speaking about mental health issues, particularly ones that are a bit more confronting, like self-harm, which you've been through. I've been suicidal 2 or 3 times. That's pretty confronting. But I feel like when people like us actually discuss it, people who know what we're going through, they resonate with it. I think the only people we get judgment from are actually people who have no idea what it's like. At least that's what I feel like. I never got judgment from someone who had been through suicidal tendencies or ideation. It only ever seemed to come from the outside, someone who didn't understand. So I kind of feel like even if they got offended, not that I want to offend anyone,
Yeah.
but I feel like they were kind of missing the point. I don't know if you felt that way as well.
I do feel that way, but the thing that mostly bothers me about those comments is not really me watching it, but let's say
Mm.
they have a family member who is going through something similar and they read comments
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
it kind of, it doesn't make you feel that comforted or that I can go like to that person. Let's say it's a person,
yeah.
that girl, that woman's daughter is going through it. It kind of just has that disconnect, and you're not going to want to be able to say, hey, I need help.
Mhm.
I'm doing this. I'm suicidal. I'm self harming. I have body,
100%.
issues, or,
Yeah,
it could be whatever it is. But it kind of makes that person not want to seek that help. So that's why the only reason why I don't like comments like that is because if someone close to them reads it, it
yeah,
kind of just makes you feel like that person can't support you and can't be there. So that's the only
yeah.
thing. And I think you can understand too,
Yeah.
it
Well, I mean, it makes them feel judged. And when you're going through such a tough time, the last thing you need is someone else's judgment when you're judging yourself 24/7 and you're living inside your own head. So that I take your point. Now, let's just go back to the comments. I'm trying to keep up to date with them, but just because they're not in English, most of them, I'm struggling a little bit. Now, where did we go to? All right. So Oscar wants an autograph. Um,
I hope I can give you some if I'm ever wherever you are. Te lo puedo mandar o algo.
I think Oscar's from Venezuela.
Ay,
I'll give you a bit of
gracias.
we'll
Oh,
keep
I love
going.
these comments. Everyone's so sweet. Estoy ansiosa de regresar. Muy pronto, muy pronto.
Emalia, we are always aware of our queen.
Thank you. Honestly, Team Maelia, they're just extraordinary. Like, I am forever grateful and thankful for them. They go above and beyond. They even sent me a crown.
I
Uh,
saw that. So tell me the story behind that. I saw it on TikTok and you're just lying in bed. I don't know whether you were
well,
dressed up or not. You're lying in bed and you were speaking well, Paraguayan or what's the language? Is
it's
it
just
Spanish?
Spanish, but
You were speaking Spanish.
we do
So I
have.
didn't know what you were doing and then you just put a crown on your head. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, it came in the mail. They surprised me with the crown because other girls, you know how some in cities you can compete for your cities and then you go on
Yeah.
to compete for
Yeah.
the. But so they had their crowns and they didn't want me to feel left out or not have one. And they wanted me to be able to do the pictures and the videos with it on, which I did. So you'll
Aw,
see that soon. But yeah, my TikTok, I try to be more like
authentic?
myself, because on TikTok you can post whatever.
Yeah.
It's not as aesthetic or whatever. But I did want to give thanks to them because it was a cute surprise and I loved it. But yeah, they go above and beyond for me. They've always supported me through thick and thin. And like I said, they give me a reason to keep going. And I will never forget. I'm like forever thankful. Forever.
I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, there wasn't a Team Milia last time we chatted. I mean, how does it feel? Because I've never thought of you as a big-headed person. I've always thought of you as very humble. So then how does it feel to suddenly have a team behind you? That's got to feel some kind of way.
I'm so very humble. So sometimes when I say like Team Melia or like fan page, I just like I can't
Yeah.
because it's just so it's like I can't say that. But I definitely appreciate my supporters. I always say they're supporters, but it's crazy because I really never thought that would happen. It does make me feel like kind of like a celebrity in a way, but
You look embarrassed about it when you say that. Like, oh, I feel like a celebrity and I don't know how I feel
it's
about
because
it.
I know myself. I'm just a regular girl, you know. I'm just a regular girl that all of a sudden, like I don't know, people just started being in my corner and on. It's just it's amazing. But I love it. It's the coolest thing. I would have never imagined in a million years that it would have happened like that, especially through pageantry. But
Are there any
I will say, compared to the United States, the Latin American countries just go so hard for their
mm,
queens, and not just like one specific pageant, in all the pageants. And I admire that. So I love it so much because really, what's a queen without the support of her country?
well,
I,
yeah,
well,
absolutely. I mean, by definition, you can't be a queen if you don't have a country behind you.
yeah, but
Um,
you could have it, but the support behind it,
of the people,
it's not
yeah,
always given to a lot of people. But in Latin American countries, it's like, this is our queen, this is our queen. I love it so much. It
yeah.
was like so different coming from Texas and the USA, and then there, it was honestly like so cool. It was really neat. I'm still living
Any
through it, so it's just amazing. And then getting other fans from other countries too. I love it. That's what I love about pageantry too. It connects you to all these people around the whole world. It's really cool.
when is the Maelia Salcines international tour happening? So that all the fans can meet up. Are you having any like fan like a Maelia con? That's what we need, like a
Yeah,
convention for yourself where all your
that
fans
would
can
be
show.
so cool. Honestly, I've been wanting to travel a lot, and sometimes I even meet like other queens from like Thailand or other places, and we just communicate on Instagram. But I would love
Mm,
to go visit them and like actually like see their culture, see how their country is.
yeah,
Yeah, it's so neat. I think that's one of the coolest things about pageantry is the connection. And
100%.
I love seeing when like in international pageants, when they're in like locations, like everyone always like really emerges in that culture. It's like a really cool
So any dates yet for the Maelia tour?
thing. No, not
Maelia,
well, first is Paraguay, so that's for sure.
fair enough. Since I last chatted to you, what has life been like? I mean, you still seem like the same person, but I mean, it's 2 years, which is quite a lot of time, given especially what the world's been going through. What's been going on? How have you changed? Have you learned any lessons? The easy way, the hard way? What's life been like in general?
Life has been on a blessing. I feel like it's gotten better. I moved to Houston officially at the end of 2021, and I think that was a huge thing because I felt like I finally lived on my own, and it was just, I think I needed that, just kind of go on your own and make mistakes, learn the
Yeah,
hard way. But also, I feel like I've done a lot of self-reflection throughout the years, and I've been able, I started journaling, I started doing yoga, I started meditating, and really taking time to date myself, to get to know myself better, to put myself first, to put my mental health first. And I think I'm just a much happier person than I think the person that you spoke to 2 years ago. And aside from that, I became a makeup artist, and I now have two children's books, and we're working on our third one.
wow, okay,
So, yeah, so our second book is going to be coming out in a few weeks. I have hardly talked about it, so this is the first time I'm announcing it. It's part of the You Can Do It series. So I remember the first book was You Could Do It
yeah.
Chickadee, and that was about a little chicken who is struggling with depression. And the next one is You Could Do It Tex, and it's based on my lizard, but it's on anxiety. Yes, I have a lizard, but I based
For
that.
reading my facial
I
expression.
know, I know, I saw it. I was like, I have a lizard, But I based it off of him, and it's on anxiety. And then our third book, we're in the works of doing it. But I'm super excited because I think that the earlier we teach children and families about mental health, the
Mm.
quicker we could catch things so it doesn't progress when they're teenagers or get worse. And they're able to have the resources and the proper coping mechanisms to help them when they're going through tough times in their life, especially when you're growing up. You hit puberty, things are changing. And I think that's when I at least started struggling with my mental health.
Yeah.
I think when you're an adult, you realize there's childhood traumas that you never knew you had, and that like so I think working on that as a child and kind of nipping it right there would have been a lot more helpful for me. So I just try. I think early prevention is one of the biggest things we can do to
Mm.
help our children in the future of our society.
Is the third book based on an animal as well?
Yes, it's gonna be based on a goat.
Do you have a goat?
Well, we do have ranches. So we have chickens, we have deer, we have rams, goats, little pygmy goats. So yeah, I guess you
Wow.
could say we have a lot of stuff.
Okay, but you need to tell me more about the lizard. You're not the first. Now, I have a friend, a good friend. She has a snake, and I think that there's another friend who also has a lizard. But I didn't know you had a lizard. Like, tell me more about the lizard.
So
What is?
I had two lizards and one bearded dragon, but I gave the bearded dragon and one of my lizards to my nephew because his had passed away because of old age. But
Right.
so I figured, like it was a really cool lizard. It was an African fat tail gecko, and they kind of have like a stripe. It kind of looks like a little Hershey, like it's brown. It's really cute, but in the book he's like brown and everything.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, I have a leopard gecko still. Her name is Mushu, based off of Mulan,
Okay. Right.
Little Dragon in Mulan. But I don't know. I have always loved lizards. I always thought they were so cute, especially geckos. So I don't know. They're really easy to take care of too.
Can you? Well, we actually have. I don't know if you know a water dragon here in Australia, and he just lives near our pool, and he's probably a good or 2 feet long, and he'll just pop out in the middle of the backyard. The first time I saw him, scared the crap out of me because
I know that would have scared me too, honestly.
I mean, they're big, right? And they don't. I mean, you probably find they look very friendly, but I think there's something a bit. You see a lizard, like, oh god, like that. But what is it like having a lizard as a pet? I have no idea. Can you
I don't know.
play with it?
I
Does
feel
it stay
like
in like a terrarium or?
it stays in a terrarium for the most part. It has its little heating lamp so it can bathe,
Yep.
like bask in the heat. But I do take it out. My lizard Mushu loves like right when I walk in the room, she like comes out of her little hide of her
Okay. Yeah.
little house, and I could just tell she wants me to carry her and pick her up. So I just put her there, and then she likes to chill. She likes to roam around. And if I have a hoodie, sometimes she'll like stay in between, like where the heat is. So she'll
Oh
stay
yeah.
like right where
Yeah.
between the neck and the hoodie. And it's just so cute. It's different than having a dog because I have two dogs too. But I don't know. I feel like a lizard is something not a lot of people have. I mean, a lot of people do have it, but it's not as common as you think.
Well,
But
yeah.
what
Not
I
as common
really
as a
want,
dog.
yeah, what I really want is an iguana, like a giant one. And I want it to just roam around. Obviously, I would put it back in its terrarium, but I just want it to roam around in my house, like kind of like a dog.
I have this picture, you keep saying this, and you have your whole team Maelia watching, and they sent you a crown, and the next day you're going to end up with an iguana outside your house. Like they send
Hey,
you one of
I'm
them.
open to it. I'm open to all the
All
lizards.
animals. Send
All,
me animals. Have you ever answered the door with like the lizard wrapped around your neck or anything like that? Like
no,
scared an Uber driver or something?
I never did because ugh, this is like a bad thing, but my dogs, when they go outside, they like to eat lizards. So I keep them separate. I don't want little
Yeah.
accidents to happen. So I keep them completely separate because I don't. That would just destroy me. I don't even want to think about that. But
Yeah, that's not a happy thought.
no, but my friends, whenever they come see me or visit me, I always have her around me, like whenever we're in like her room or like,
Yeah,
separate from the dogs. And
yeah,
I just think it's they love her too, even though at first they're like, ooh, lizards, like so gross. But they learn to like love her because she's harmless. Even if she
yeah.
bites, there's like no teeth in it. Like she's only bit me because like once because she thought I had food. Like I feed her worms and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason, but it really doesn't hurt or anything. There's nothing to be scared of.
No, 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 no. Animals, yeah, they if they think you have food, then they may very well, bite your hand or bite your finger. Cats do it, dogs do it. We
Yeah,
have chickens now. Chickens definitely do it. Although the chickens sometimes when you don't feed them, they peck you, which I
yeah,
really
that's
dislike.
different. Birds kind of they definitely love to just we have some
Yeah.
my brother has some emus in his at his ranch and
Emus.
they're big and I had bracelets on one time and they just like kept picking at it and I was like, okay, calm down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, a chicken pecking you is one thing. A giant emu pecking me, I don't know how I feel about that. I'd say run away, but an emu can outrun you, right?
it's a
So there's
little
not much point.
it was a little frightening, but it's so funny because my sister-in-law, those are her babies, and she'll talk to them like, "Hey, baby," and they like respond to her. It's really cool. It's so neat. Like I don't know. That's just like a ranch thing, a Texas thing, maybe. But
What's an emu name?
I don't. They don't. I don't know if they have names. I think they do have names, but the other day I think they had an egg, and the egg was so cool. It was
Oh, wow.
like big and like it was like a emerald green. Like it was so neat. I was like, oh my god, that's fascinating.
Oh, wow. Is that going to hatch or is it
I don't think so.
unfertilized?
I think they're obviously females, but I think you would have to have a male for it
Yeah,
to, you know, because I think all birds lay eggs, and it's
yeah.
just yeah.
We've gone way off topic here. But can you eat emu eggs?
I think you can. Don't quote me on this though. But I'm sure people eat a lot of things all over the world.
Well,
I'm sure you
that's true. Might be a new taste sensation down in Texas, emu eggs. One thing I have to ask you, I mean, you're representing Paraguay.
can.
Do you have any favorite Paraguayan dishes? It wouldn't be a pageant interview if I didn't ask about
Yes,
food or
I do
drink.
actually. It's not really a dish though. I just love chipas. It's like made out of corn. I don't know how to explain it to you. It's like kind of like a bread. It's
Yep.
really hard to explain in English, but it's so good. It's like my favorite thing. And then you can also kind of make it like chipa wasu. So there's like it's kind of more of like a moist consistency. It kind of reminds me of cornbread if you think about it. Like if you've ever
What I
had
was thinking of.
yeah,
Yes.
kind of like that, but better. It's
Okay.
really hard to describe it though. I would have to show you or actually send you some. You know what? I'm gonna actually send you some so you could try because it's actually pretty.
Careful. It might not get through our. We have really strict quarantine laws if you send food.
No?
Oh yeah, no, that's nothing to do with the pandemic. It's because we
Oh,
have so many like species that would have no natural sort of defenses against. So
that's
like if you
true.
try to bring an animal in here, it's like good luck to you,
I
or
do
any sort
remember
of food.
talking to you during the pandemic, and like y'all's was still on lockdown and
Oh
everything.
yeah. Yeah, we're way past that now, thank God. Every time I see a face mask, I'm still triggered by it. But when I was over in Texas, because I was over in Texas, as
I
you know, like
remember.
last July,
I
I
missed
tried a
you,
I tried a I know because you were competing,
and
so that's all right.
I was gonna. I remember I was gonna meet you because
You were going to do the makeup at
I was
Galaxy.
yes, I was gonna do the makeup at the pageant you were
Galaxy.
speaking at,
Yeah,
Galaxy, and that just so happened to be this around the same time that I had to leave for
I
Paraguay.
know.
So we missed each other, but oh, and you were in the city that I grew up in, my
Yes, McAllen.
hometown. Yeah, so
Now,
that was
can I ask you about McAllen? What is there to do there?
okay.
I only ask this because I went there and I was asking the locals there what is there to do, and they would say nothing, which is not as a tourist is not what you want to
It's
hear. So
kind of
did I miss something there?
you didn't miss anything because it's not like a city that you would go and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go out and do stuff." Because the
Yeah,
nightlife is honestly mainly a lot of younger people to do there. I think it's mainly like you go to someone's house and you cook and you just share, your time together,
Oh,
play games. It's
okay.
mainly like that. There's like a lot of places to eat though. I honestly feel like the food there, I don't know if you tried the Mexican food there. So good.
I
So
didn't have a choice.
I know you really didn't have a choice, but there honestly really is not much to do there. Because I remember you asked me, and I was like, we just got like, I don't know if you know what a top golf is. Like
Or
it's
like a
like a
putt a
golf place.
putt-putt golf thing?
Yeah, like a golf place. It's around all over here in the United States. But we had just gotten one like
Oh,
years after every city in the
okay.
state had one. So it's like it's growing pretty fast. I will say that, but I don't know. I still every time I go visit, I just stay home. I hang out with my friends and my family, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much all I like to do. And growing up, that's all we pretty much did was just hang out with each other. There wasn't really any places to go out and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I will say that when I was over there, I did eat a lot of food. That is one thing, just in Texas in general, the portions are gigantic.
You
And I tried food that
like like
I
they say
tried foods
everything's bigger in Texas.
bigger. I mean, like when you have chicken, like it's basically half a chicken on a plate, and I wasn't expecting that. But also, I tried things that I've never had before, like a biscuit. Is it? Like
Brisket?
it's like a biscuit. It's like a scone, but like a harder one, and I had one of those. I had grits. I've
Okay.
never had grits before. I'm still not sure what it is, even after I've eaten it. I had some kind of chowder. That there was no shortage of food. I
No,
can tell you that
and
much.
I will say, it is a big foodie city. Like,
Mm.
yeah, if you want something, you crave something, you could go, like, easily find it.
Oh, yeah,
Everything
100%.
is really good there, in my
Because
opinion.
I was in Dallas for most of it, for about half of it, and there was everything from Mexican to sushi to Italian, and like good quality
Like,
there as well.
Vietnamese, like, we have
Yep.
everything here. It's great. I've my food palette has completely expanded since, like leaving the
Yeah.
valley and like moving to Houston to a bigger city. I mean, Houston is the fourth, I think,
Mm.
largest city in America, in the United States. So I'm like a huge foodie here. It's so hard when you're prepping for a pageant too, like because I'm like,
I was gonna say, yeah. How can you prep for a pageant in Texas when there's just delicious food all around you? But speaking of pageant prep, what is like? Give us a timeline. What's coming up? What do you have to get ready for? How's your prep going? All that stuff.
so I'm pretty much eating healthy, protein, 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 a lot of vegetables. I think I have a little less than a month to go. But, I'm just training, working out almost every day. But I do give myself a break. I listen to my body. Like I said, I listen to my mind. If I don't feel like working out, then I don't. But I am definitely in training mode right now. I'm very laser focused on that. But I will say, this time around, I'm kind of, having more fun with it
Hmm.
instead of like sacrificing a lot or, I can't go out with my friends or, how some people like really do sacrifice that. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I really want to have fun and be in the right mental health space so I could really truly perform 110% myself. But yeah, I've just, I feel like I've been in prep mode for a long time. I do give myself breaks, but I feel like I just continued and continued it. So overall, I think it's just eating healthy, working out, enjoying life, being in the present, and doing little things every day that will get me closer to my goal because I feel like it's important to take it a day at a time because sometimes when you look into your prep, you think, okay, this date I have to be ready, I have to be this.
Mm.
And I think sometimes that can really, at least for me, cause a lot of anxiety. So I've learned to take it one step at a time, one day at a time. And it's honestly been so helpful doing that rather than just looking at the larger picture.
Sounds like you've gotten wiser somewhere
Definitely
along the road.
wiser. I've learned a lot of myself and how I am with preparation, and I've done it all pretty much, like different techniques, tried different things that might be more helpful for me, and keep my headspace positive and for the most part because I know how it feels like to get in a really negative headspace when you're preparing for a pageant,
Yeah.
and I did not want myself to be in that situation, especially considering this is my last chance to compete. I'm already 28. That's kind of the cutoff. I know a lot of pageants though are
Changing.
the age limit, but
Yeah.
I think this for me, this is it. This is the last ride for sure. Officially, I can say that.
You have to be careful saying that. I've spoken to so many people who said, "Oh, last ride or last time," or "I'm taking a break," and then I see they're competing in another one like the next year or sometimes the next week, and I'm like, "I thought you said you were taking a
I
break," and they're like,
know, but I
"Yeah,
think at this point in my life and what I want to do in my life, like looking forward in a year, my 2-year plan, my 3-year plan, I really want to do other
yeah,
things. And I feel like I have put a lot of things in the back burner because of pageants,
mm,
because I wanted to really focus on that. But I think it's time to kind of move on with my life. Um, I'm in my late 20s. I am ready to kind of just move on from it, but I am soaking in every moment because, like I said, this is my last year. So I feel like this time around, I am truly just being present.
you have to stop saying late 20s like you're getting old.
Well,
It's infuriating. You
it's just
don't look
not
old at all. You haven't aged a
happening.
day since last time I spoke to you."
No, but the one thing that is frustrating though is that people in pageantry make it seem like 28, the cutoff age, the last is so,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
is so toxic. It is such
yeah.
a not a good thing to say. I see it all the time in comments like, "Oh, well, we need someone more younger, more fresh." I'm like, if y'all didn't know my age, you probably would have never guessed that I
No,
probably was like 23 maybe. So
yeah,
it's
exactly.
just all like age is just a number. But I will say that's the one thing of pageants that I hate because they make us seem like we're old, but we're not. Like we're just starting our lives.
Oh, don't get me started on the whole topic of age restrictions. I was literally talking to someone in Canada about this yesterday for 3 hours. I can't understand 28 for the life of me. I would understand 30 more just because it goes from two to a three at the beginning. But why 28? Like,
I don't
well,
know.
what happens when you turn from 27 years old and 364 days to 28? No, now you can't
You're done.
represent our country.
You're old. You're
Yeah,
old.
exactly. But it's also discounting like all your life experience and everything that has made you a better, wiser person. You're like, no, that's not important. What's important is that you have no wrinkles on your face or no cellulite. I'm like,
We're
what on earth are you talking about?
I don't know why the emphasis is so crazy on age, especially if you're one of the like in the later ages of the eligibility. I don't
Yeah,
know why people focus so much on that.
no
Because
idea.
yeah, when as you gain more experience when as you age and stuff.
Mm,
So in my opinion, it's even better for someone who has more of
yeah,
more experience. I'm not saying that younger people don't have experience though, because I know a lot of mature younger people
100%.
who have gone
Yeah,
through so much in their life,
yeah,
even maybe more than me. So I can't discount that either. But it is kind of like disheartening, especially for women. Us
mm,
women are always about age, 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 this clock, this time. And I feel like our society needs to get better with that. And
yeah.
thankfully, pageants are taking that into consideration and are raising the age limit. But I feel like I think 28 is a good age to, but 30 is like great. I think 30 would be a great cutoff for all pageants because I think
Yeah,
America was 25 and I had no idea until the other day.
yeah, yeah.
I was in shock. I had no idea that it was 25. I'm like 20. That's when I started
Yeah.
pageantry. I was
So you
20.
would have already been too old.
I exactly, and that's like I don't know. Honestly, I feel like 30s, everyone says this, that 30s are your best years. So
Flirty 30s is what they call it. There are some other words that they rhyme it with that I won't say here,
Yeah,
but
probably not.
yeah, no, but I mean, look at the you want to look forward, right? Look forward to like the best is yet to come, sort of thing. Because honestly, if you
Exactly.
think I hit 28, it's all downhill from here, then that's really such a bad mindset
Such a
to
bad.
be in. Um, but yeah, I don't, especially in this day and age. There's not what's the difference between a 30-year-old and a 28-year-old? Like there are. We're younger for longer these days. So
Yeah,
my 20, 30 years ago, maybe it was a bigger difference. But,
I
you know,
actually agree with that. It is. I feel like the ages like are just kind of are getting closer. I don't know. I do,
yeah.
but I do feel like that is something that we can kind of change as like pageant fans or someone
Mm,
watching. Is kind of just don't focus so much on age. It doesn't really matter that much. But it is. But
okay.
you see it. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
I talk
Yeah.
to my
But
non-pageant friends, and they're like, "28, you're old." I'm like, I'm young. I know I'm young. Like I'm good, but
mm,
in the pageant world, like yeah, it's a kind of a big deal.
yeah, I think age really is just a number. I think it's
It
much
is.
more about what's in your head and what's in your heart. I think if you still have dreams to go after and you're going after them, then you're young. I worked with teenagers. I know a lot of 13-year-olds who are 5,000 years old because they've given up and they're cynical and everything. And
Yeah.
I think it's much more about who you surround yourself with. And as long as you keep growing, then I think to me, you're still young. And you look exactly the same. I mean,
Thank
this is in a good way. You haven't aged at all.
I know.
So
I take care of myself. I try my best. I do the skincare. I do the SPF every day. All that
I
water.
I recently got into a skincare routine, and man, I at first it's fun. I didn't realize how it's not hard work, but it's like you
It's
can't just get out the
fun.
shower and go. You got to like do this and then do this and then put on the SPF, and then it's like it's a whole other thing. Let me just again bring you up to date with the comments. So I got to scroll up here a bit.
Okay.
So Oscar here has again. I can't read it.
Hola,
I apologize.
Hola Venezuela, ¿qué tal?
This one I can read.
Oh,
She's
that's
perfect.
good. Thank you so much.
Uh, you know, Eros,
Aw, like invincible kind of.
and then just general, you know,
Emojis. We love emojis.
the emoji spam. What's your favorite emoji?
Okay, I'm so glad you asked because I was going to tell you anyway.
Oh, good.
So I love the one that's like the smiling one, but it's like melting.
No, I hate that one.
You hate that one? Oh
No,
my,
because my one of my friends kept sending it to me, like 30 of them, and it just kind of looks creepy because they're all melting, but they're really happy to be melting, and it just
that's
freaked me
just
out for some reason.
I just feel like it's such a cool universal thing. Like you're like happy to do something or like sometimes I have a lot of like things that happen in my life, like little minor things, like inconveniences. So I was like, oh, I was like, like this is how life
See,
goes.
so to you, is it like representing dying inside? Is that
It
what that emoji represents?
represents my mood, my love life, my everything, like just different aspects of my life. But also my other favorite one is like the one that has like it's like blowing smoke a little bit, like like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
because that's like a
yeah.
cool one. Like instead of putting fire emojis in someone's picture, you just like put that one, and it's like a compliment, like oof. I always
Hmm.
say that though, I'm like oof. So like I feel like that represents
Okay,
my oof moment.
okay. So if you had to pick one emoji to represent you, which one are you going with? The melting one, the the oof one. Which one is you? Or is like a day in the life of Maelia, like 30 different
The
emojis?
melting one, then
The melting.
all my friends can definitely agree with me on that one. They know everything about my life, so they can agree that that describes me in my life right now.
Okay. The phrase "hot mess" comes to mind. I don't know if that accurately describes it, but this whole to pick that one emoji
I
as
think
representative of you,
you nailed it. You nailed it. No, yeah. I mean, I love life and like all its mess, and it's just
yeah,
I love it. I embrace
life.
all of it.
That's a really important quality to have, isn't it? Like, if
Yeah.
there's one thing I think we needed to have learnt over the past 2 or 3 years is that we really have very little control as to what actually happens to us. So you gotta roll with the punches, so to speak, and then having that optimistic thing because it's same as age, like, you gotta believe the best is yet to come.
Yeah, and the only thing you can control is your mindset, is your mind.
Yeah.
That was something. You know, like I said, it was hard for me to do that, but now, like I said, I appreciate the mess of it all because at one
Mm,
point, you know, I would just it was so overwhelming and consuming, and now I just appreciate life for what it is because it does really shape us into the people that we're meant to be and supposed to be, and we always learn something from our experiences and how we handle ourselves
mm,
and you know how we can move forward and become a better person or become the version of ourselves that we're always meant to be.
yeah. I mean, to take you back a little bit, you did mention like life after pageantry or post pageantry or after pageantry, and you mentioned like a 2-year plan or 3-year plan. Can you clue us in as to some of the goals
Yeah,
you're going after?
well, aside from, well, I do want to focus more on my modeling career because like
Hmm.
I kind of put that in the back burner. That is just something that I've always wanted to do and kind of really embark on. So that's one of the things. But I think the main thing is to really focus more on speaking, like public speaking, and speaking more about mental health to more audiences and actually like putting myself out there. And I also want to we have a plan to expand Mental Monarchs and continue the books. So that's really what my focus is on. They all go hand in hand, you know. So
Yeah.
I feel like I really want to take my time and really focus on that because I do feel like pageantry, I mean, I've done it, but it has taken up a lot of my time,
Yeah.
that I like wish I could really like devote myself to in those things. So that's why I'm already
Yeah.
thinking ahead because that's my
Nice.
future, you know.
Yeah.
What that's my purpose. That's what I want to do with my life. So, and I want to start it right away, you know.
100%. I always tell the girls that the best way to succeed in pageantry is to create an amazing life outside of it, and I really mean that. I don't think you can just pageant, 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 and then because once you finish, like, what have you got to do? You're lost. So, I
And
love the fact that
I
you have.
have felt that way before. After like
Yeah.
pageant season, you're like, what now? Like, what am I gonna
Yep.
do now? But I already
Yep.
have that plan. I already know what I want to do, and that's why I'm like so eager to get there. But like I
That's
said,
amazing.
I'm living in
Cool.
the present. I'm enjoying it, and I'm excited to see where life takes me in the next year or two. Like, you know, a lot has changed since the last time we talked. So
Yeah.
I'm honestly, the possibilities are endless.
Pretty cool. I just want to show a little bit of Miley the model. I saw this one.
Oh my gosh, so I don't know if you know who Coco Rocha is.
I've
Uh,
been seeing on your stories like a modeling
yeah,
camp.
she's a
I don't
super
know who they are, but I've seen the modeling camp.
yeah, she's a supermodel, you know, worked with Naomi Campbell, all that stuff.
Ooh.
She's
Okay.
really yeah, she's really popular. She's out there. So she has a modeling camp and I decided to go there because like I said, I'm already thinking about my future and post pageant life and everything. And I really wanted to gain more knowledge in of the industry and learn more about myself, learn more about modeling and everything. And I feel like it was truly helpful, honestly. And I'm so excited to embark in that because I did gain a lot of knowledge from that camp. It's if anyone's watching that's wants to do it and has always heard of it or anything, I totally recommend it.
There was
That
one
was
particular photo, this photo here, which makes my quads burn just looking at it.
honestly not gonna lie. I also did another one where I was on a chair and like my legs were up and my abs, like my whole body was shaking. You couldn't see, you can't tell, but my whole like modeling is honestly a workout sometimes, especially the way Coco teaches us. We had this like one training where we were jumping for 3 minutes straight.
Pumping.
Yeah, jumping, like doing different poses, like
Ooh,
you
right.
know,
Okay.
yeah, like kind of like that. So it's a workout. It's a workout.
Well, I'd say the modeling career is off to a pretty good start from the looks of things. So that's
Yes,
something to look forward to.
I'm really excited about that. And I feel like now, they don't care how old you are, how tall you are. No, size doesn't matter. And I think I love that the modeling industry is kind of changing and evolving into that, especially as society changes, we change. And so do businesses, so do different things. But I love that because I'm not the tallest. And but it's fine. I don't mind that. I embrace it. I embrace the tiny but mighty, I love to say.
I've heard that one before.
I
Look, I'm tall. I don't mind being tall, but it's not always great because you tend to walk into things a lot, and
I can
so
imagine. No, but I
I,
feel like there's like this saying like you're 5'3", but your attitude is like 6 foot or something. Like
you can get. I can see that.
yeah.
That's definitely appropriate for you. Okay. Well, just before we go to, I'm just thinking about the final 10 questions, and I'm going to ask you the same ones as last time, and now I'm thinking of Dr. Pimple Popper.
I was
Um, oh, I still remember that. That's going to haunt me for the rest
I'm
of my life. I
sorry.
still don't understand that. I really, no. Dr. Pimple Popper?
It's the weirdest thing. I don't know. I just like to watch the videos. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. And at that point, I was working at that med spa, remember? So
Yeah.
I would be there, like recording, getting content, and I was like, "It's a pimple popper." I was like, "Pimple poppy? Okay, let's do it."
So when you do have this international Maelia Salcines tour, is there going to be like a pimple popping booth? Is
I
it just,
I honestly, I don't.
oh God.
That sounds like a mess. So no,
Yeah,
I'll watch it through a screen or something.
that's fair enough. All right, just before we get to the final 10, who would you like to give a shout out to?
I would love to give a shout out to Team Maelia because without your support and your love, I would probably not have had the encouragement to continue to follow my dreams. So I appreciate that. I don't know if I should probably say that in Spanish.
Go for it.
Quiero agradecer a Team Maelia por todo el amor, de verdad, los amo muchísimo y todo lo que hago es por ustedes.
I feel like I need to go and learn Spanish now. So
Yeah, it's not that hard. I feel like
I
if
can,
you know
I,
Latin, it's
yeah,
barely like little words here and there. But
yeah,
I will say every country has its slang. Every country says words differently. So
yeah. I'd be happy just to be able to have a conversation. Like I speak French and I did do the
yeah,
Latin, so
I
Spanish
would love to
probably.
learn French. I think it's so beautiful. Like if someone could be like,
Language of love is what
they
it's
could
called.
literally be telling me the meanest things ever,
Yeah,
and I'll
but
be
it
like,
sounds beautiful, right? In
keep
French.
it coming, keep it coming.
Keep insulting me in French. Have you? There's this joke about how, because like French sounds like the language of love,
Yeah,
and as a stereotype, let's say German is quite harsh,
it is.
and you can hear like German rap, like really hardcore death metal that's in German. It sounds right, but then you hear love songs in French, and that sounds right. But then someone's flipped the script and tried doing like death metal in French and tried doing love songs in German, and it just sounded so wrong. Like I didn't know what they were saying, but it just didn't seem right. There is something to be said about like the sound of a language. Some sound
I
really
agree.
harsh, some sound really romantic, but yeah.
I know. I love language. I wish I could understand all of them, but if I could learn just a few sentences from different, I would love that. That's great. That's cool.
All right, shall we do this final 10?
Yes.
Let's see. I can, the only answer I remember is a pimple popper.
Simple
So
Wonder. I mean,
let's see
I'll
what
try to
comes up.
change. I'll change that answer. I forgot what the question was, but we'll see when
Yeah.
we get there.
Let's see if we can relive some post traumatic stress here. Number one, what is your favorite word?
Oh, my favorite word. Oof. It's not really a word, but I've been saying that so much lately just to describe things. Oof.
Every time I see those two emojis, the oof and the melting face, I'm going to remember this conversation. Number two, what is your least favorite word?
Least favorite word? I don't have a least favorite word. I know a lot of people hate the word moist. I personally, it doesn't bother me. So I don't have a least favorite word.
So you're all right with the word moist?
I'm alright with the word moist. Yeah. People hate it.
Okay.
People hate it. And I love to
Uh,
say it.
I've never really understood why people hate the word moist so much. Like, it really seems to trigger them. Some of them genuinely get upset.
You know what word I don't like though? I just remember it. Clump. Like clumps. It kind of reminds you of like, I don't even want to say it. It's gross. Like throwing up. It's just gross.
Reminds me of throwing. Okay.
Well, because one time that happened in an instance, and someone described it as that, and I just could never disassociate that word from that.
Okay. All right. Well, we got there eventually. Clumps. Number 3 in life. What gets you excited? What turns you on?
What gets me excited, I think, just like knowing that there's so many opportunities that I have yet to even reach, or things that I know that are waiting for me in life. I feel like that gets me going because I have a feeling that like life is just so
Mhm.
good that I just can't wait to keep going, keep experiencing those pivotal moments that really change the trajectory of your life. So I feel like the things that are going to come in the future, that's what I'm most excited for. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm just very hopeful for the future.
Makes perfect sense. And I like the word pivotal. So thank you for putting that in there. So that was what turns you on. Number 4, what turns you off?
I have people that aren't considerate. I don't know. I feel like I'm a very considerate person. I'm an empath, but I feel like some people are very inconsiderate in some things and aspects of life.
Mhm.
And I think that's something that just always turns me off. I was talking to my friend about this the other day. So, yeah, I don't like people who aren't considerate or aren't mindful and don't think of other people.
Number 5, what sound or noise do you love?
Oof, I was just kidding. Um,
That can't be your answer to every question. Oof.
no,
You're gonna go on stage, have an on-stage question. Your answer
no,
better be
the
oof.
sound that I love is like the fan on when you're like going to
Oh
sleep.
yeah.
I love that. Or like white noise kind of, it's kind of like white noise, but I love that sound. It makes me just relax. I'm like, "Oh, fan. Okay, let me just go to sleep."
Number 6, what sound or noise do you hate?
Um, the nails scratching on like chalk, or even like if you're scratching your jeans, like when you're scratching the
Mm.
fabric, I don't know, that noise kind of really bothers me.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, the nails on the chalkboard is a common one, but more commonly, more recently, people started saying the nails on jeans, or nails on velvet, or nails on
Yeah, like on
corduroy.
fabric, on thick fabric that you can like hear. If
Yeah.
like someone's scratching, I'm like, I don't like that noise. So that is one that I'm like, stop, stop doing that.
Number 7, if you could have a superpower, what would you pick and why?
I would pick the ability to transport anywhere in any second. I love to travel, but I don't like the physical act of traveling, like getting on the
Hmm.
airplane, all that stuff. Like I would just rather just be there in a second. Save time and money.
I was going to say, you mean you don't like paying through the nose to sit on a enclosed fuselage with a screaming kid right next to you for
Oh
like
god,
20 hours?
no.
No.
No. No. I as much as I know people have to travel with their kids, but oh my god, sometimes you're on a plane and you're like, I feel bad
Yeah,
for them though, because for the parent, for the kid, for the baby, everybody.
I just feel bad for myself. Just do that clicking again.
Which one? This
Either
one?
hand. Either. Can you do both?
Like
Clicky.
that?
That's strong. You got a good click
Really?
going on.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I feel
Whoa.
like my claps are really loud. I'm not gonna do it, but my claps
Well,
are
anyone can clap, but not everyone can click. Just do that with your right hand again. If there's ever a talent section, I think you should just click. Like, that's really
actually,
snappy.
I think I have a hidden talent, and it's I can lick my elbow.
Isn't that supposed to be actually impossible?
Yeah, it is. It's like one out of I don't know the statistic, but it's supposed to be impossible. But I'm one of the few that can.
And when's the last time you tried this? Like,
The
had you
other day.
dislocated?
Honestly, it's because I don't know if it has to do with I have like a hyperextended arm.
I
I
would,
don't
yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
It could have something to do with that, but for some reason, I always knew how to do that. It was
Okay.
weird.
How did you find out that you have that talent? I have to ask. Are you just sitting there as a kid one day you're really bored and then you're like, yes,
Honestly, well, because okay, so I have two older brothers, and they would always make me like put my tongue to my nose or something. I don't
yeah,
know if I could still do it, but I was able to do it then. So then I think the elbow thing came to be about around that time, and that's how I figured it out. And I never lost it. And I'm also very flexible on my arms because I always do like arm work, to exercise, stretch, and stuff.
yeah,
Um, so I guess I got flexible there. I don't know.
yeah? There's a lot of people because this is a tennis stretch who can't link their hands behind their
Yeah, I
back.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
both ways. And
yeah,
for me, yeah, that's really weird because I can, but there's some people like you can, if they can't reach, you can literally get a sticky note like say "kick me," and you put it on the small of their back, and they can't get it off because they can't reach it.
that's
It's
actually funny.
hilarious. I'm
Yeah,
not saying to do that, but anyway, I won't get you to demonstrate that talent. By the way, let's move on. Number 8. What job other than your own would you most like to attempt?
I would have loved to have been an astronaut. I love astronomy. I taught myself how to read the night sky. I have my own telescope. I loved the physics of it. I loved
Oh, okay.
everything about it.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to be an astronaut. Well, like not always like a little kid's like I want to be an astronaut. No, this was like in college. I That
Wow.
was
Okay.
when the love of that was birthed.
If you had a chance to go into space, would you take it?
Yeah, I would actually.
Yeah, because that.
Even though my anxiety would probably be off the roof, but that's okay. I just think imagine the view
Mm,
of
hmm.
Earth from the space shuttle or just in space, and then you see
Yeah.
the moon. Like, to me, it's unreal. Like it's unreal. So
Yeah.
that
It's,
would be
yeah.
that's always something that I always wanted to do. But you never know. You never know. I never say
Well,
never.
I only ask because my travel agent, the same one that sent me to Texas, she said next year or even late this year they're starting sort of tourism into space, and you don't go up in like a dodgy shuttle. You're going up kind of luxury, and I guess you fly up, and then it's weightless, and you get to see that view that you're talking about. And I put up a story saying, "Who of you would go to space?" Because I'm like, yeah, I would. That's why
I
I'm asking.
volunteer. I volunteer
It's
tribute.
it's in the realm of possibility right now. It's going to be happening. So if you're interested in it, it can happen. And if you love space, you've
That
got to
would
do
be
it.
amazing. That would
Just the
really
view.
make me
Think of
feel
the
good.
view,
The
right? Like
view.
like seeing the Earth like that would
And
just
if
be.
you think of it, we're just like a speck, and it just makes like
Yep.
all your problems just kind of go away, like the little
Yeah,
things that we stress about, the little petty things that we may complain about, just like, it gives you like a whole perspective. I can just only imagine that view. But that
100%.
is interesting. I'm gonna look more into that and Google that.
Well, you'll be turning 30 at some point. I'll shout you a ticket for your 30th. I'll send you up into space.
That would imagine be like, hi, this is my 30th birthday.
Maelia Salcines is coming to you from space. By that time, that's what will be able to happen.
Yes.
Uh, that's very cool. All right, what job other than your own would you definitely not like to attempt?
Anything having to do with like working with aquatics, I don't know. I'm very scared of like sharks and stuff. I don't know. I would still go like the diving and do that and just kind of get over my fear of it. But I think anything having to do with sharks because they kind of freak me out.
There
But
are videos. There
I
are
do
videos
like
I
to
can
watch.
show you.
Oh God, I know. I do like to watch Shark Week though. It's always a good week.
There is I had a friend who stayed over with me, and she ended up, going to Miss Universe, but she's from the UK, so she's terrified of sharks because in the UK they don't even see the sun, let alone sharks. But I sent her this video. There's a video of a shark cage at the top of the water, and a person is struggling to climb out of it, and he eventually gets out. And then a couple of moments later, a white pointer shark, one of those great white sharks, comes up out of the cage, goes over the top. and then swims out. So the shark was in the cage with him.
Wait, I think I may have seen a video like that because the shark kind of broke through the glass or something.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah, I think I saw that same video because the
Okay.
anxiety I got from watching, I was like, "Geez, I don't even want to be on that boat. I don't even want to be on that boat."
I don't want to be on the ocean, let alone that boat.
No, you know, and like we haven't even discovered like more than half of the ocean. We
Oh,
don't
that's
know what's
true.
there. We don't even know what's in there. So like,
That's
I'm gonna
true.
stay on the shore. I'll stay on the shore.
So safe to say you'd rather me send you to space than to the depths of the ocean?
Yeah, I honestly
Okay.
feel like, you know, it's 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 a huge space down there too. It's like I'd rather go to
Yeah,
space than in the ocean for sure.
that's true. All right, final question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
That that I did good. That I did good. You know, I feel just like that reassurance of like you did good, kid. Like you made it. You did it. You did that. You got here. Hopefully, I had a long life to live, but you know, but I'm appreciative of every moment.
I'll just bring you back to the comments before we hang up.
You
So
did good,
again,
kid.
I don't know what some
Oh,
of
they
you mean,
want
but
me
that's
to do like my little like when you're like Heart of Texas, that kind of thing. Like my
oh,
yell.
just don't do France. That that poor girl, and she had a good laugh about it afterwards. She was
She
really,
did, and I saw.
which made me like her because she's like, oh, she's laughing about it. So that ended like on SNL and
It
stuff.
was
Everyone got just
Audrey Plaza. Audrey Plaza was
yeah,
perfect at it. She was perfect at it. I was like, girl. No. So should I do it?
sure. It's your interview. You do whatever you want.
Maelia Salcines, Paraguay. I would do it way louder, but I don't
Yes,
want my
yes.
neighbors to hear.
You wake the dead. Um, that France one was so funny. I feel like for a moment that made pageantry really big in the world because everyone was copying the France. I
And
can't even do it like
it went viral. Like even my brother
yeah,
sent it to like people that know I'm in pageants that like don't really care about pageants. They sent it to me. I'm like, yeah, that's like a huge deal here. And the fact that it made it on SNL, that was perfect.
yeah,
I love that. I love that so much.
yeah. I just feel sorry for that girl, but at least she
And
can
she's
laugh
making a
about it.
joke out of it. And hey, no one's
Yeah,
gonna forget her. No one's ever gonna forget her. So she made her statement.
Oscar said, "Oh yeah, emojis, emojis." This one I'll let you read. I don't know what it
Oh, that's
means.
the same pretty much what I
Okay,
just did. Yeah.
vamos. I know that word. Vamos, Malia.
Oh, they want me to do it even louder.
Don't wake your neighbors.
No, I can't. I'm like the. Oh, that I love you, Carlos. Te amo. Te amo.
And
He's a
then final
very
one.
he's a very special person to me. He's been very helpful. Very
Muy bien.
muy muy bien. Yeah. So I can't believe the competition's almost coming.
When is it?
Honestly, I love like the whole grand thing. It's so cool. It's so I feel like I could really be myself and like because I'm a very like spicy person. So I'm super excited to be able to compete at Miss Grand Paraguay and also get to know all the girls because we're in a group chat. So I finally get to meet everybody. That is something that I've like really been wanting to do. It kind of really sucks. I kind of do feel sad this time around that I'm not there being able to be a part of the productions and everything. But it's I just have to accept it, you know? But
Yeah.
it is something that I wish I could be a part of, but I'm glad everyone's having a great time, and honestly, the organization is doing phenomenal. They're honestly amazing. Um, like, that's why I'm so excited to meet them and, like, be a part of it and see everything that they're planning because I heard it's
Mm.
gonna be just great and even better than the years before.
Well, best of luck with the last hurrah, the last ride. Hopefully, we get to see you on an international stage where
Yeah,
you can
hopefully.
scream as loudly as you want.
Trust me,
I'm sure it
I
won't be
can get
quiet.
really loud.
I am struggling to see that. Like, I can't possibly believe that you'd be loud. But thanks for coming on again. It's been a blast having a
Yeah,
chat for
thank
round 2.
you for having me. Round 2, hopefully we could do this again.
Maybe when there's other things going on as well, because we shouldn't just talk about pageants. There's other stuff
Yeah,
as
we should
well.
yeah, I know, there's a lot of things we could talk about.
Oh, 100%. In fact, I probably will be doing that, making more of a point of interviewing people who've stopped doing pageantry or finished and just catching up with them to see the amazing things they're doing. Because I think it's important for the girls to know there's life
Yeah,
after pageantry.
exactly, and how to manage it and what to do, but I feel like
Yeah,
every girl after pageantry, any girl that's been in pageantry, after they, leave the world, they just
yeah,
excel. They just
yeah.
blossom into something even better and more and bigger than
Well,
pageants.
yeah. Yeah, because you've got that confidence, you know how to communicate better, and I think, and you will attest to this, you get to know yourself a lot more. Like the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, and you learn to accept it and like, this is who I am. And I think that stands you in really good stead for no matter what you choose to do.
Exactly.
So I think we should do that. We can highlight life after pageantry. But thank you for coming on. Thank you to everyone for watching, Team Maelia. And I will keep Maelia on the line for just a sec whilst I hang out with you guys, and we will speak to you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Sorority Access is now open, so if you'd like to join an amazing group of women and learn how to be the most powerful, confident, and impactful queen possible, head to thepageantsorority.com. I'll see you there and see you in the next video.